Alright, so this is a video to talk about the second part of games that I beat in 2018. No particular order, I just have them organized by system. So these are more of the modern games. Um, I'm going to start off with the Switch. Um, Earlier in the year, I think I bought my Switch around like March, and I'm really disappointed that I got this version of this case. This is what they claim they only had, which is better than nothing, I guess. But anyway, the this is one of the first games that I played on my Switch. It wasn't the first game I bought, but it was a motivating reason to buy the system. Plus, it was like a deal that I got the system for anyway. But I played through this in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Maybe just playing like an hour or two here or there. And I know there's a lot of the game that I did not sit through and just find everything. But I went through enough of the game to have seen the end of the game. But then when I got to that point, I really didn't have any motivation to keep going. So that's not to say that I don't think it's a good game. I just don't think it is the best Mario game that has ever graced humanity. I think that's what they tried to convince us to it being, or for this game. But me personally, I think the Galaxy games were like more impressive when they came out. If the Galaxy games were together one game, which I always saw Galaxy 2 as kind of like being like a DLC game, I think they kind of stand on their stand a little bit higher in my mind than Mario Odyssey. It's really easy to hop into this game, and oh yeah, the other thing that I have a gripe about this is I didn't think it was that not challenging, but just it was really easy. This is the easiest Mario game that has ever been made. Like, if you think back to the original Mario games made in like the 80s and 90s, even like Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine was really hard. Um, and like you could kind of tell that they made this game so that like 80% of people that buy this game will beat this game versus like back in the day, the percentage of people that actually beat games made probably was way lower than that, probably below 50%. But anyway, I mean, I would play this again, but it's not like I'm not strongly itching to restart this. But it definitely is worthy to be in my collection. But I usually like keeping Mario games, but there was a strong part of me that wanted to just trade this back in because of how much it could have traded in for. And at the time I was not really that impressed with it, but um, overall it's a decent game. Another Switch game is Sikyo Collection. I'm sure I butchered that. This is the volume 1. I bought this back maybe September, October-ish, and it came. The one that I wanted two that I wanted the most was Strikers 1945 and Gunbird. This was one I almost bought for my PlayStation 1 collection. I think I could have probably got it for around 2025, and then Gunbird, if you bought it on the Dreamcast, all these games would cost way more than what this is. This is why I was really excited when this came out. So just for these two games, this whole package for I think is like maybe 35 plus shipping was a great deal. These games are really good as far as just being able to pop them in and playing them. They have like a difficulty setting that you kind of really scale it. It's not just like a easy, medium, hard. It's like on a 10-point scale. So it, it's I know shooters tend to have a reputation of being pretty tough, but they kind of make it so that it's not impossible to beat these. I didn't have any experience playing Gunbird before, but I had played Strikers in a few different ways. I think even on when I still have my Ouya, but I don't even know where that's at. Ouya had the Strikers games, and it basically were free, I think. And I think on cell phones, on like the App Store, they have that as well. I think I have it on my phone. I just don't even realize that's what it's called. But these are good games. I'm glad I have this. I probably will get Volume 2, just not anytime soon. Uh, when I got this game, I was really excited to replay these just on one disc, one system. I really didn't have a huge desire to play through. Well, I do have the Anniversary Edition on 360, but the big selling point with this was to play Halo 2 on a modern console. So what I did with this is I played through Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I beat them all, and I had a lot of fun. Every one I played, when I beat the game, I was like, okay, I'm ready to play the second one, ready to play the third one, ready to play the fourth one. Um, I know the first one really well. I played and beat that probably at least 5 or 6 times in my life. But what I've realized is that Halo 1 is still my favorite one of all the series. Halo 3 is super or not super overrated. And Halo 2 did not age well at all. And I think Halo 2 and Halo 3 are like the worst of the series. And then what totally shocked me, and I played Halo 4 when it first came out and beat it, but like playing it again and like really looking at things more closely and playing them all in order, I think Halo 4 is like super underrated. It was like pushing the 360s to the limit, what it was capable of, and I think the storyline was fairly decent. I don't know why Halo 5 was not very good, but like the direction that they were going with Halo 4 actually kind of was pretty cool because it introduced new enemies, and it doesn't get a lot of attention. I mean, when you talk about Halo games, they tend to not really talk about it. But anyway, um, I did not play Halo Reach this year. ODST is one that I really like a lot. I might try to, in this year, go back and play ODST and Reach, which I like a lot too. So anyway, just kind of like the Modern Warfare game. Sometimes it's good to go back and play some shooters when you have that desire. But Halo was one I played through the whole series. A game that I was pretty impressed with. I beat it a few weeks ago, and I liked the story in the game. It's one of the reasons why I stuck with it. It's basically a third-person shooter, but with a pretty decent story. And I feel like whoever were the writers of this game, I tip my hat to them because it was a pretty good story, interesting. Not really very believable, but interesting story. I know the guys who made Alan Wake did this. I liked Alan Wake a lot better. I tried replaying Alan Wake like a year or two ago, and I just couldn't stick with that. Just because it did not age as well as I thought it would have. But Quantum Break's got some good ideas with it, and I liked it. They were setting themselves up for a Quantum Break 2, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen for some reason. I guess that this probably was a huge budgeted game. Like they probably threw tons of money at it and did not come back the way they had hoped. But I was surprised. I liked it. Even though this is a few years old, I wanted to try it, and I think I got this at GameStop for real cheap. I don't really remember. I just every few months or every few years, I love to replay this, and this is one I play several times in my life, several times every few years, and I just looking at the case makes me want to play it. I've played it and beat it on the GameCube a few times. I played it on the PlayStation 2. I've played it on the Wii and now on PlayStation 4. It's just an awesome game. This is definitely one of my favorite games. This would probably make my top 10, maybe my top 5. I know Resident Evil 2 is really awesome, but I don't know why people like that are the elitists that love Resident Evil 2, but then like hate on this game. It's like I don't know why you can't like both, and just appreciate them for what they are. But I just can't praise this game enough. And then also too, I didn't play Resident Evil 5, but that doesn't deserve the negativity that gets too. Another guilty pleasure game that I like to play every like October. This is the game I think about playing, and I did again this year. There's three campaigns that turn it into a complete package. So if you were to play all three campaigns, it'd probably take about 12, 15 hours, maybe less if you're really good at it. But I think I just played the first campaign, and then that's how I counted it as I beat it. But I love replaying this game. It's just a like really put together game. It's definitely one of the best zombie games out there, and a lot of people don't even maybe know it exists. It takes the Sniper Elite engine and or the game model, and then just changes over the enemies to zombies. And it tells a pretty interesting little story too. It's just like a zombie Hitler tries to take over Europe with like a plan B, and all the dead German Nazis come back alive, that type of thing. But I love this. This game is awesome. I would be happy if they started up with another one. This is a series that I got because I just thought it looked interesting, and I ended up liking it a good bit. I'll admit I played them on easy to beat them. And these are kind of like Mega Man clones. Bleed 1 and Bleed 2 are very inspired by Mega Man, fast-paced shooters. You can use guns, you can use swords. I think swords were introduced in the second one, not in the first one. But when I bought this package, I thought that it was going to come in one case and just two discs, or like the same two games on one disc. I've never witnessed a game series that should have been on one disc before, because it's not pushing the limits on these graphics in this game. But you don't play the game for graphics, you play it for like speedrunners would love this series. But it's definitely like all about like the bosses and stuff like that. I liked it a lot. A game that I was really excited to play, and I beat this. This does not take long to beat. I think I beat it probably in like 2 hours. Twin stick shooter called Nex Machina from Housemarque. Housemarque is also the same company that made Alien Nation and Zombie Nation, or whatever I forget what the one I talked about previously. And I like this a lot. It's a good game. I'm glad I have it. Last two games is a series that just totally gets treated disrespectfully, and I appreciate them, is Knack 1 and Knack 2. The way that I would describe this is it's like a kid's version of Uncharted. It is a really decent beat 'em up series, where PlayStation 4 is really pretty lacking in beat 'em ups in general. The only game series I can really think of that's a beat 'em up is Dragon's Crown, which was ported from the PlayStation 3. But it is a for sure like a adventure beat 'em up game. But like you're kind of exploring, you're trying to figure out like what's going on, and you're trying to solve problems. It definitely has it's guilty of kind of like overextending itself and trying to drag the game out a lot longer than it needs to be. Like it tends to. I think they're both around 15-hour games, but like they could have easily been 10-hour games and they would have been fine. It's kind of like you could tell people from Sony, because I think this is a Sony published game. Uh, or came into like a meeting and said we need to stretch these games out an extra few hours, so you find some ways to do that and do it in 2 months, type of thing. But these games get treated really disrespectfully. They a lot of people make fun of them as being really bad, and it's really a shame because they're some of the graphics in these games are really good. Even the first one, which is I think pretty close to being a launch title. But I thought they were great, and I like to play them too because a lot of the games that I can't play with like my little boy in the room. My little boy's 3, so playing these, I'd had no problem with him being around if he wanted to watch. Or then he would usually would just play with his toys, and then I might be trying to play a little bit of these. But anyway, I recommend it for sure. Who knows if there'll be an Act 3. Anyway, those are the games for this part, and I'll follow it up with a final part 3 later.